The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Closing the Loop from Waste to Wealth and Clean Energy for Sustainable Rural Communities. We're excited to have a great gang of people to offer some presentations and insights to a wonderful program that I've been working with down in Maryland. So first, we'd like to start off with a trailer video. It's a short one. It's about 4 minutes as people enter onto the webinar. It gives you an overview of the Closing the Loop program, the West Nottingham Academy. And then we'll come back on and we'll be ready for the presentations. Welcome back to Closing the Loop from Waste to Wealth and Clean Energy. Just to let you all know that trailer there is a full-length version of the video on the West Nottingham Academy's website, and we'll provide a link to that. So, for you all, if you're having any difficulties, there's a number on the left side of the screen for you to call. Hopefully you're not. And if you have any questions or if you need to chat with me and have an issue, go ahead and type in a question in the box or in the chat box and direct it to me. For questions on the presentations and what's being discussed today, please put your question in the question box, and we'll read those over at the end of the presentations, and our panelists will be sure to answer those questions. Also, at the end of the webinar, you'll receive a link to a survey and also in an email that you will receive. And please, there's only 2 questions, and we'd love to hear about what you thought and learned about the webinar. Today's presenters are Dr. Virginia Kennedy. She is West Nottingham's Director of Sustainability Programs and Curriculum. Joining her are students from West Nottingham Academy's Environmental Policy Action Class and Student Environmental Council. You can read all about their program at wna.org. Following the students and Dr. Kennedy from West Nottingham will be Mr. Bill Kilby. He is the founder of Kilby Farm and Creamery, and he's going to tell you all about his farm and the anaerobic digestion system that he has on the farm and the program and partnerships with West Nottingham Academy. I'd like to thank USDA and Rural Utilities Service for all of their support for NERC and other projects in rural America. For more information, you can contact me, and all of the webinar presentations and the recording will be posted on the NERC website, nerc.org. The Northeast Recycling Council does work and represents the 11 in the United States, including Maryland. Okay, so we're on to West Nottingham Academy. And just 1 second. All right, Dr. Kennedy, you're on.
Thank you, Athena. Hi, everybody out there. I'm Virginia Kennedy. I'm Director of Sustainability Programs and Curriculum here at West Nottingham Academy. I'm just going to give you an overview of who we are and what we do here at West Nottingham before I turn it over to Mr. Kilby and then to the students. West Nottingham Academy is the oldest boarding school in the country. 2 of our early graduates include signers of the Declaration of Independence, Richard Stockton and Benjamin Rush. We're a boarding and day school, so our students stay here, and we have students who commute back and forth every day. One exciting thing among many about our school is that we have students from all over the world here, different countries and from several states as well as Maryland. So our population is diverse, and whatever we learn and do here at West Nottingham goes to all the 4 corners of the globe. And we're very proud of that, and that allows us to know that when we make a difference, we can make a big difference. Since 2016, you'll see the logo in the corner. We have become a Maryland Sustainable School. The Maryland Association for Environmental and Outdoor Education gives sustainable school designations to schools after 5 years of proving that they are willing to become as green as possible and to reduce their environmental footprint to the fullest extent possible. So we filled out a very cumbersome application, did a lot of work, and became a Mayo school in 2016. At the same time, we developed our Student Environmental Council. Here at West Nottingham, we try to focus on making sure our programs are student-centered and student-led. So the Student Environmental Council, and now just new this year, the Environmental Policy and Action class, are the students that take the lead on making sure that our programs are successful. So we're focused on a set of principles here. We want to make sure that environmental literacy is taught across the curriculum. We want to make sure that our campus is environmentally sound as possible, our physical campus. And we embrace a set of ethics here on campus and through the partnerships that we make locally, and nationally, globally. And we're going to hear more about that in very specific terms, especially our partnership with our neighborhood farm, Kilby Farm. You'll be hearing all about that as we continue the webinar. The ethics that we're focused on, if you start at the root of our little tree there in the corner, have to do with reciprocity. And reciprocity and partnerships are two things that go together. Reciprocity means what you put into something, you get out of it. What you do for someone, you get a return. And it's about interdependence, and that's what community is, interdependence, and that's what partnership is, interdependence. Here at West Nottingham Academy, we say, we sustain the earth that sustains us. So if we take care of the earth will be clean and healthy, and the earth will take care of us. And that's the same principle that we use with our partnerships. We help our partners, we support them in the ways that we can, and then our partners support us. That makes us a responsible school, responsible to each other, responsible to the land, responsible to our partners, and the whole community that's involved here. That makes us respect each other. When we know we're caring for each other and we have to take care of each other, then we respect each other. We respect what we do for each other and how we can help each other. At the top of the tree, you see the classic 3 R's, which are reduce, reuse, and recycle. And that's what this particular program is focused on. In order to get rid of waste, to get rid of pollution, to cut down on greenhouse gases, we have to reduce what we use, what we buy, what we consume. What we do use, we have to reuse rather than just throw away. And before we throw anything away, we have to see if we can recycle it into something that can be used differently. This program takes all of those R's and makes them work for us. So let me just say for a moment, give you a little backstory here, a word about the efficacy of partnerships. I first met Mr. Kilby before I even knew I was going to be working at West Nottingham Academy. And Mr. Kilby is the president of Cecil Land Trust. Cecil Land Trust is an organization in Cecil County that works on protecting with conservation easements, which are legal documents that get attached to the title for a piece of land, that permanently protect land. In the case of Cecil County, we're protecting agricultural lands and open space. So through Cecil Land Trust, Mr. Kilby and I got to know each other. I became a board member of Cecil Land Trust, very, very much supporting the idea of making sure we protect our farmlands and protect our open space. Then I got a job at West Nottingham Academy, very fortunately for me. And Mr. Kilby and I said, well, what can we do? What can we do together? Mr. Kilby's family had a long association with West Nottingham Academy. So we decided, hey, this is a great campus. We have a great administration willing to be progressive and focused on making us better. So what are some of the things we can do here to partner to make West Nottingham a more sustainable campus, and also to make West Nottingham a bigger and better and more integrated part of the Cecil County community. So Kilby Farm became our outdoor classroom. Mr. Kilby said, hey, I got this, you have a beautiful campus, but I have this big piece of land here where we're conducting a business in a very sustainable way. Bring your students, bring them at any time. Let them learn about everything that we're doing here. So we connected through a learning paradigm. And then we started talking, the students and I here, okay, so what are some programs we can do to really have an impact? And we decided, let's start with reducing. The students came up with the idea that we throw away an awful lot of food. And so we started thinking, how do we reduce our food waste? What do we do about that? Mr. Kilby at the same time was teaching us about the methane digester on his farm. And we said, hey, a partnership is born here. If we could bring our food waste over there, rather than sending it to the landfill, we can reduce our waste, reduce our climate change footprint, and save money on dumpsters in the bargain. And you'll hear more about that in deep detail as we continue. What you're seeing now is an aerial picture of beautiful Kilby Farm in the upper right-hand corner, which is about a mile down the road from where West Nottingham is. West Nottingham's campus, you'll see our very beautiful campus in the left-hand corner. And we're neighbors. So in this beautiful rural community, we want to sustain the healthy open space and healthy waters that we have here. So that was the beginning of a beautiful partnership. We can learn there, as you see, right there in the middle. Our students looking at the chemistry from the on-farm brewery at Kilby, and then our students and teachers in the top middle picture going on a tour with Phyllis Kilby to find out what's happening on the farm, how crops are being used, cover crops are being used, how animals are being fed, etc. Here are more learning opportunities that we've had in our partnership with Kilby Farm. In the upper left-hand corner, you can't see Mr. Kilby, but he's talking about compost. And he's showing the students how heated the compost gets. In the lower left-hand corner are 4 students from the Student Environmental Council that went on a tour with Mr. Kilby of all the methane digesters in the area. So there are several farmers using methane digestion to convert their manure and organic waste to compost and clean energy. So why should that waste go into a landfill? Why should that manure end up in our streams when it can be energy? And methane digesters are popping up in this area to efficiently make clean energy that way. On the right-hand side of the screen, as you look at it, you see Mr. Kilby with a group of our students. And right there, they're learning about stream bank restoration. So if you'll remember earlier, I mentioned Cecil Land Trust. Kilby Farm is protected by one of the conservation easements that I mentioned earlier, as are most of the neighboring farms protected by conservation easements. A new project that Cecil Land Trust has been working on in the past couple of years is helping the farms to protect their stream banks. In other words, to restore them with plants, hardy plants, deep-rooted plants that can act as filters, so that when there's lots of rain or runoff, that those plants filter nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen from getting into the waterways. I'm not sure how many out there are from the Chesapeake Bay area, but you know that Chesapeake Bay is a huge environmental resource. It's also a huge economic resource, imperative to keep it healthy. And keeping nitrogen and phosphorus out of the waterways is one really important way to do that. And now Cecil Land Trust, Mr. Kilby, is taking that project to farms all over the area and getting farms interested in stream bank restoration, and then on top of that, hopefully, in protecting their land for future generations. And finally, what we also learn at Kilby is the farm is a business. You can run a business in any way you want. You can be environmentally disastrous, or you can be environmentally sustainable. It's always a choice. Sometimes you hear from a business, I don't know, I can't, it's no choice, I have no choice. It's always a choice. At Kilby Farm, and hopefully other farms who are learning from this type of program that we have, any business, our school, this farm, any business can run sustainably. All it takes is a will and a desire and a focus to do the right thing. And I'll tell you something, doing the right thing, most of the time, in conservation, although there may be an initial investment, most of the time doing the right thing means saving money. More money back into the business or more money in your pocket. And here's the other aspect that I've been focused on, which is connections. You'll notice in the left-hand picture, there's a couple of members there from the American Dairy Association. They got a wind of our program, our connection, our partnership with the farm, what the farm offered to us, and how the farm was supporting, how the school was supporting the farm by buying its products, by buying its milk and buying its ice cream. So they came down to see how our program worked. We had a wonderful day with the American Dairy Association, and in support of us, they wrote a beautiful article about us on their blog and in their newsletter to explain to other farms and other institutions how people can connect with local foods and local farmers to support those local jobs, to support those local businesses, and at the same time to get food that's healthier, to get food that doesn't travel by truck for thousands of miles with carbon dioxide spewing out behind them, to bring us food that's much less fresh. So in the way of partnerships, we partnered with Kilby Farm, and then we made this great association with the American Dairy Association. So now, that's a little background and getting down to the heart of this particular program that we're focused on here, closing the loop from waste to wealth and clean energy for sustainable rural communities. We came up with the name of Closing the Loop from Waste to Wealth and Clean Energy for our film last year, the student-made video for which you saw the trailer. We came up with that because we understood that closed-loop systems are the way that we will protect our existence on this planet. I'm not saying save the planet, because I always tell my students, the planet will be just fine without us. We have to save ourselves. We have to make sure that we have a planet that can support quality of life for every human being on it. And that means less waste. So a closed loop system means that nothing is getting lost at the end of it. Everything gets reused, put back, reused, put back, and nothing escapes out to do damage to the environment. And that's what this program is. It's a closed loop system. And you'll be hearing more about that from Mr. Kilby and the students as we go forward. So I'd like to introduce Emily Alexander, our Mike Harris Environmental Sustainability Fellow. She's just going to take a moment to emphasize for you the importance of dealing with the huge issue of food waste. We're making a small dent here, but many, many small dents means a big difference.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm really excited to be here at WNA and be a part of our food waste diversion program with Kilby Farm. I just wanted to share some quick food waste statistics with you. First, 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted or lost every year. That's a lot of food that we could be making a lot of energy or compost out of. When organic material like food waste decomposes, it produces methane gas. Methane gas is said to be 30 times more potent in our atmosphere than carbon dioxide. And if food waste was represented as a country, it would be the third largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world, right behind the US and China. So now I want to turn it over to Mr. Kilby of Kilby Dairy Farm, and he's going to tell more about the anaerobic digestion process.
Thank you, Emma. I just first want to say it's really been my pleasure to work with the children on this project and the next generations. One of the things that my wife and I have retired, and we turned it over to a younger generation. Their business, we're still very active in it. That's why I'm here today. It's a partnership, much like these partnerships Dr. Kennedy has been talking about. And so two young couples, Cliff and Andrea Sensenik and Ben and Liz Playhart, have taken over the business in the last 2 years, and they're continuing to make improvements in what we're doing. They also buy into the sustainability, the staying power, and they're becoming more. They've never been a direct seller of products, and they've come to see the state of mind it requires to think in a sustainable way. So this is our home farm, and as Dr. Kennedy said, it's just down the road from West Nottingham. And we've been working with the school for years and years. In fact, as they worked with us on their stream buffer project of 20 years ago. And this slide will just give you an idea of some of the things we do. We're constantly trying to increase our direct milk sales, and as of today, I think we're going to start being in the Wegmans stores, and they're very much interested in our glass barrel concept and the fact that we do use a methane digester on the farm, So when they advertise their milk, they can talk about this closed loop system. So this is basically how the dairy operation looks. We have a dairy production area where the 500 cows are kept. They're fed a basic grass diet. We also feed amino acids direct, which is a precision feeding system, which makes sure we do not waste or use any more nitrogen on the farm than we need to, and the cows get what they need and stay healthy. And our milk, an important part of this is our milk goes directly from milking the cows into the processing plant. In a lot of cases, as Dr. Kennedy said, milk is hauled a long distance to be processed, then it's hauled a long distance to be brought back to the stores. And this does affect doesn't affect the nutrition of the milk, but it does sometimes affect the taste of the milk. So the milk they get here at West Nottingham, for instance, is, and maybe we'll get into that later, definitely has the things that the children here would like to have. And so down at the other picture, you see the methane digester system. So the, I think there's you'll see a picture here in a minute. Okay, so this is the way the system works. Cows are housed in these buildings. We use a flush system, which is rather unique. When we built this system 50 years ago, it was new, a cutting edge kind of idea. And so, as you can see, it's a closed loop system. So the waste comes down, the sand is separated, it goes into a stage 3 acid cell, which is what we're looking for is the volatile fatty acids that are produced, which actually are the things that produce the methane. And so that stage 3 goes into a pre-fermentation stage. And as I said, we're rebuilding our system. It'll be completely rebuilt by this September, and that stage 3 will also be covered so that we'll get some more benefit out of it. And I think there's another picture coming up of how we do this. So we have sand bedding, and the reason we use sand bedding is we want the milk to be as free of bacteria, and it's also a great place for cows to rest. They think it's the beach. And so what happens is we keep a record of how stressed our cows are by what's called the somatic cell count. And the somatic cell count is just basically counting the white blood cells that are released by the cows, and white blood cells determine the amount of stress they're under. So we have a very low stress level in our cows, which produces better tasty milk. And so as you see, the flush system, the water runs down the alley and it flushes the sand and manure out, and then the sand is recovered to be used yet again to recycle. So we keep the concept of recycling. So this is recycled water, recycled sand. And so it goes through these other stages. And that stage 4, you see the bladder for the biogas is what inflates that bladder. It's the gas pressure that's being released from the bacteria making the methane. So that's where we store our gas. And the final stage 5 is called the finishing cell, where we pump the water back to flush yet again. So you can see the factors that influence this our decision, and this was back in 2007. There were some very positive signs that that biogas production was really going to be a thing to do because of environmental credits, carbon credits, renewable energy credits. And we wanted to use this as part of our direct marketing scheme, if you'll call it that, or the kind of advertisement that we would want people to know that on this farm producing this milk, we were doing the best job possible to not adversely influence the environment. So we are a CAFO, and I just briefly wanted to mention that because we are managed, we have EPA is very interested in making sure CAFOs do what they say they're going to do. And so we are very well managed as far as nutrient management plans, air quality plans, dust plans. So we really do want to our customers to know that we are clean and green. So what's happening after 12 years now? We proved that the flush system and sand bedding can be used in digester management because when we first started this, we were told that they would not work. And so we managed to design a system that does work. It's proved itself over the last 12 years. Some of the other things that happen is burning methane creates an excessive amount of heat. And so there are things that we use that extra heat for, including heating water. There has been a variation in gas quality, which is one thing that the new system we're putting in will alleviate the problems associated with that because it's all going to be computer controlled. Up until this point, it's all been manual control, which is definitely hard to do. It has improved our manure management system, as I said, and air quality is better. And we also get a tipping fee. But in the case of tipping fees for food waste that comes in this case, making the deal with West Nottingham, as far as you use our milk and we'll take your food waste, has been very positive for us. And so it ends up that this is a business model that we've been using in this watershed along with a pay-for-success stream restoration model. So West Nottingham and Calora have become like a center for innovative ways of thinking of how to solve the problems that face dairy farmers and the general public and how to deal with their environment. So here's what we're planning on doing. There are new technologies along with electric vehicles. What we would do is we would really like to either clean and compress the gas and use it directly in our delivery trucks and our farm machinery, or else we can plug electric delivery trucks in at night from the methane digester and really reuse that energy. And we've also put in a farmstead brewery where all the waste from it goes into the digester. In return, we'll produce electricity for that system too. So direct sales, you can see this. We have an ice cream shop, and which I think West Nottingham students use quite frequently. Besides the bottling milk, and we also do the as part of our sales, we do tours and stuff because we really do want the public to know that their milk is coming from a really good place. You're always welcome to come to the farm and look at it because we're putting our name on this bottle of milk, and you know, you're facing a certain amount of risk when you name your milk and they know where it comes from. The 7 million people within 50 miles of their business in the Chesapeake Bay, we do definitely think that this is probably the greatest model you could have, this closed loop system for sustainability, working with your neighbors, for these students from around the world learning to see that everything's possible if you're just willing to take the risk. And that's part of what I wanted to emphasize today. Not everybody can do what we're doing, but if you get a community to think about what they would really like to do as far as sustainability is concerned, we can all make a difference. So I'd like to introduce the students, these people that I feel have made my life much more interesting, and I do really think about them going back to their countries and being able to see at least some ideas of what we're doing here that might be workable where they live. Students.
Hi,
Hi, I am Emma Dedrick, a senior at West Nottingham. I've been here for 4 years, and the strides we've made in just the past couple are really phenomenal. At West Nottingham, we believe that our system of limiting food waste is replicable at other schools, no matter the location. Though our specific program at a farm just down the road from campus may not be possible for every school, our model can serve as an inspiration for schools that may institute food waste diversion programs. These could be methane digesters, composting, or just thinking about where your food comes from and where your scraps go when you're done with them. Little movements can go a long way with just a little work, so any idea is a start, really. Our partnership with Kilby Farm didn't just fall from the sky. We had to work on it and make it worthwhile on both ends. But at the end of the day, we know it's important to maintain a healthy and reciprocal relationship with the environment around us. In the case of West Nottingham, with such an amazing opportunity just down the road, well, why wouldn't we?
Hi everyone, my name is Ethan McNary and I'm a junior at West Nottingham Academy. At every meal, we place our food scraps into colorful buckets located in our dining hall. Every Saturday, when the buckets are full, students take the food waste down to Kilby Farm. All of the students participate on a weekly rotating schedule. The food scraps get dumped into a pit with other effluent cow manure. From there, the digester separates the waste into the solid digestate and methane gas. The digestate is used as fertilizer for the Kilby fields, and the methane gas is used to run the farm. In turn, WNA gets to enjoy fresh local food, such as milk and ice cream.
Hi everyone, my name is Barry and I am a senior at West Nottingham Academy. I've been here for 4 years. Not only do we benefit from our Kilby partnership in all of the ways we have talked about, but we also work towards reaching one of our main goals as a sustainable school in this partnership. Through composting our food waste, we divert a significant amount of carbon dioxide from going into the atmosphere and help to mitigate climate change. Rather than letting our food waste sit in a landfill and turn into toxic gas, it gets turned into energy that is used to power Kilby Farm, which makes our milk and ice cream. The energy the farm uses is clean energy rather than fossil fuels, which pollute our environment. Along with the creation of our food diversion program, we also have created a 3-year climate change action plan to further our sustainable efforts and goal of mitigating climate change. Our climate change action plan includes the many different ways we're going to work towards lessening our carbon and environmental footprint as a sustainable school. Some of these projects and programs include reclaiming many of our large lawn spaces on campus and creating natural habitats, an energy analysis of all of our buildings on campus, and a change in curriculum to make climate change a mandatory topic/theme covered in all classes.
I am Bethany, a junior at West Nottingham Academy. As you can see on the slide, the ram is our school's mascot. Hereafter, we will show you how the food diversion program works in our school community. As you can see in the picture, we have a lot of colorful buckets in our dining hall and only a small trash can. The reason why we have a small garbage can is we are able to eliminate everything that is not biodegradable from our dining hall, such as straws, single-use condiments, plastic top, toothpicks, and we transition to use compostable napkins as well. One great benefit from our partnership with Kilby Farm is that our milk will come from the farm. They were in glass bottles that we will be returning for future use. Most of waste in our dining hall are food scraps that can go into the compost buckets. We have the direction next to the buckets, guiding the students what to put and not put in the compost buckets.
Hi, my name is Matt Scheinman, and I'm a senior at West Nottingham Academy. As you can see from the pictures, all students and all faculty take part in bringing the compost buckets from our dining hall at Kilby Farm. Every Saturday morning, at least one group of students is responsible for the week's composting duties. It takes about 2.5 hours each Saturday. Overall, this allows our closed-loop system to work, and in addition, our students and faculty get first-hand experience with understanding where our food waste ends up.
My name is Catherine Young, senior of West Nottingham. For compost duty, we went to QB Farm by school bus, dumped the food into the pit. And then we came back to school, washing the buckets with vinegar for prevent mold, bacteria, and odor. After that, we would dry the clean bucket in the sun.
My name is Izio Shen. I'm a senior at West Nottingham Academy. So WNA diverts almost 7 tons of food waste from Cecil County landfill annually. Reducing our waste stream means reducing our on-campus dumpster, saving us almost 12,000 per year. And we got delicious milk and ice cream from QB Farm. And be honestly, I feel like the milk and ice cream from QB Farm just tastes different than what we bought at supermarkets.
So, for instance, whenever my parents come up to visit the school, they always take back Kilby milk or ice cream with them because it's so much better than the stuff they get at the grocery store.
Yeah, I'm going to just jump in here and say the kids love the milk. In fact, when we first got the case, and the case was very generously donated by Kilby Farm, we first got the milk case and we loaded it up with milk. The kids were drinking so much milk that the dining hall staff switched from tall glasses to shorter glasses. Our kids are smart though, they know to go back for seconds. So not only are we giving the kids a more delicious choice, a healthy choice, the milk used to be delivered in big plastic bladders that would go into a milk machine. And a lot of times that milk didn't get used or kids didn't drink it because it just didn't taste as good. So we'd lose a lot of milk, and then those plastic bladders, which were not recyclable, would go in the garbage. Now, with the system, the milk gets delivered, we use up the milk, the bottles go back to the farm, and the bottles get refilled. In the lower right-hand corner of that picture, you see our students. As Mr. Kilby mentioned earlier, we are at the ice cream shop regularly enjoying Kilby ice cream because it's phenomenal. So before we go on to our final slide here, I just want to give a little bit of an introduction into what you're seeing here with these two bills. Last year, you saw the trailer to our movie at the beginning. The kids made that movie last year. We took a trip down to Annapolis and we met with the chair of the Environment and Transportation Committee and talked to him about the potential of our program for the whole region. And he's a busy guy, it was a busy day, and we didn't get the hearing that we wanted. We didn't get the attention that we wanted. We got some, oh, great idea, we'll see you next time. And the students were a little disappointed that we didn't have more of an impact, but that's politics, and in politics, persistence matters. So here we are a year later with a very successful program. West Nottingham Academy has become a leader, a template, by making this program work and showing how we can divert food waste in a partnership with Kilby Farm, support the farm, and save money. Just to reemphasize what Izio mentioned before, just by getting rid of our food waste, we are down 2 trash dumpsters, right? And those dumpsters are almost $500 a month a piece. So that money is going back into our school, into our programs, where it should go instead of into the trash. People are catching on to the success of this program. Now, 1 year later, Mr. Kilby was contacted by the Mid-Atlantic Biogas Council, who knew about our program, and also by Delegate Castley, our representative delegate here in Maryland. And they said, listen, we need your students to come down to Annapolis and to support 2 very important bills that are going to help move food waste diversion and methane digestion forward. So our students went to Annapolis a second time with a much different result. So I'll turn it over to the students to tell you about that.
Hi everyone, this is Ethan again. When we went down to Annapolis with Mr. Kilby, we testified on 2 bills, House Bill 510 and 511. The former, House Bill 510, states that haulers who say that they haul compost must bring their compost to a facility that accepts it. meaning a company cannot say that they compost if they are actually just dumping the organic waste in a landfill. House Bill 511 allows digestate, the solid material that comes from methane digestion, to be sold as fertilizer. This bill encourages more methane digesters, making it economically viable, because up until now, unless someone has a similar partnership like ours, the only financial gain that they receive from methane digestion is a reduction in their electricity bill.
Hi, it is Max Schneider again, and 3 students from our Environmental Policy and Action class, including Ethan and I, testified why House Bill 510 and 511 is economically and environmentally viable. We gave the perspective of students and explained that we understand this process, and we verified that it works. In addition, both bills passed the House and the Senate, and we are waiting for the governor's signature.
So our second trip to Annapolis, as you can see, was a lot different from our first. I would encourage everybody to check out WNA's website and the full-length film. You can also find it on YouTube by looking up WNA Sustainability. The full-length film on this program, Closing the Loop from Waste to Wealth and Clean Energy. We have an unexpected guest who I'd like to introduce for a moment, just to say a couple of words about our program and about our partnership. Dr. Tom Banks, who is our head of school, is here with us today. Came by to listen up to the webinar. And just a couple of words from Dr. Banks on what it means to have a progressive and sustainable school program.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Like Dr. Kennedy said, my name is Tom Banks. I'm the head of school at West Nottingham Academy. And I've noticed a change in our culture and really how proud we are as a community of doing well and passing along to the next generation some good role modeling of what you can do in taking advantage of different partnerships and kind of thinking creatively as a school kind of outside of the classroom. And it benefited us, I think, in 2 ways. One, having a partnership with Kilby Farm down the street and having these opportunities with Dr. Kennedy kind of leading the charge, whether it's working with the legislature and trying to make an impact through broader outside of our community or whether it's within our community, it's just been a phenomenal thing to see. And especially in the last couple of years, many of the students who have gone participated in our program, whether it's directly participating or observing, tend to express a great interest in continuing their education at college in the environmental field. So it's been exciting to see how not only has it impacted our community, but how it might have long-lasting effects going forward. And as Dr. Kennedy spoke about earlier, our students come from about 20 different countries at our school. So here we are in Cecil County, a rural community, not remote, but a rural community in northern Maryland, that we are, as our students go back to their, might go back and either study or work in their home communities, how this impact can be so far-reaching across the globe. So it's very exciting to see. And it's fun to work with and ideas that seem to come out every year. We come up with something new. Have you ever thought about that? So it's been a lot of fun, too.
So, thank you all for listening today. I'd like to especially thank Mr. Kilby. I mean, nothing would be possible without this partnership. And all of the partners that have come to us through Mr. Kilby. And of course, the support of WNA's administration, Dr. Banks, in getting on board with programs like this, and the students that make it happen. I think the emphasis of today's webinar is we need community. We need community solutions. We are an innovative bunch of beings. Human beings are innovative. We can be dangerous and we can be damaging, but we can also be incredibly innovative when we get together, when we work together, and when we think in terms of that R word that I said earlier, which is reciprocity, right? We sustain the earth that sustains us, and how do we help each other? You help me, I help you, and we make great things happen. So on that note, special thanks to Athena Bradley for allowing us to bring this program to you all, and for allowing West Nottingham and Kilby Dairy Farm to share the benefits of our partnership. Hopefully they can be inspirational to new partnerships everywhere.
Thank you to Dr. Kennedy, all the students that participated on today's webinar from West Nottingham Academy, and Mr. Kilby. Special thanks to Dr. Banks for listening in and speaking. So just a reminder for the participants on the webinar, please type in your questions in your little box that's up in your right-hand corner. Type them in, and we will be asking them and answering them. We've got several questions to go through start, and go ahead and add more. I want to remind everybody that the webinar presentations as well as the recording will be posted on the Northeast Recycling Council website, nerc.org. Also, to find out more about NERC's Maryland Organics Project, there is information on our website on that as well. NERC's got a wealth of information on all matters of recycling and organics management. So please do check out the website. The resources are all open source and ready to download. So, on to our first question. There was a couple of questions about the facts and figures that were reported in your trailer and then also on the slide that Emily brought up. We're just wondering where we could find the citations for those facts and figures. Are they maybe on your full-length video?
No, they aren't on the full-length video, but we have the citations, and somehow, Athena, I can, forward them to you, and you can post them with the video maybe.
That'll be good. So we'll post those on the NERC website along with a link to the full-length YouTube video that the students put together. And having viewed that a couple of times, I would really encourage everybody to take a look at the full-length video. It's very informative and very moving. So congratulations from a WNA graduate, and they say that they're very impressed with the advances on environmental action at the campus. Wanted to know, Mr. Kilby, if you also have what other ingredients you put into your digester. Do you have waste milk that you put in there? It's apparently a European practice that makes things digest a little better.
Yes, we all the milk or all the waste from our food processing or dairy processing plant goes in from the brewery. We also we're in an area here which is close to Vineland, New Jersey, which is an area where there's a large amount of food processing. So we receive a number of 6,000-gallon loads of food waste from Italian meatball gravy, chicken fat, and cranberry juice. And so there are 5 other on-farm digesters within this close area, within 20 miles of here. And it's pretty standard procedure that most all of them take food waste from these similar producers or these large factories. But in the case of when we're going to work with Wegmans Foods, there'll be 6 stores that we'll be furnishing milk to, but we're also talking with them about taking their food waste from the stores, their produce that they're unable to sell and so forth. So there's a large opportunity in this area for mixing cow manure and food waste.
Great, and that again, this whole idea sets a very good model for other rural communities around the country. So, Virginia and the students, can you go over some of your other environmental efforts at WNA? For example, your recycling efforts, purchasing other local products, and your work on that. And there was a question about have you explored biomass to heat buildings on campus?
Well, I'm going to take the last question first, and then I'll let the students tell you about some of our other programs on the campus. No, we haven't explored biomass for our buildings on campus. But if you remember during the webinar, one of the students, Dylan, talked about our climate change action plan, which we are just drafting and will be finalizing by the end of the year. That's part of a bigger 3-year strategic sustainability plan that's already been finalized, approved by Dr. Banks and the board. So we'll be looking at all the possibilities. We do have a solar panel field here, but we'll be looking at all the possibilities for our building. In our research for the documentary last year, we spent some time with a professor at Westchester University, and they were in the middle of looking at a way to put a digester into a building in which they're building a brand new dining hall, and they were going to put the digester right in the building with the dining hall to run the building. So Westchester University is about a half hour from here. So there are projects like that in the thought phase, in the planning phase, and again, we haven't specifically looked at that yet for here, but you know, it's on the docket with all the possibilities that we have for reducing our greenhouse gas footprint. So let me open it up to the students. Why don't you guys talk about, everybody take one of the different things that we're doing.
So this is Emma. One of the things that is really big on our campus is that we don't really allow any plastic water bottles. We have a bunch of water fountains that are like specifically made so you can put your bottle under it, and like the sort of nozzle puts the water, like it fits better for your water bottle because the other ones are kind of clunky. And it also counts how many plastic water bottles we've reduced by using them. The plastic water bottles you buy at the grocery store, we don't allow on campus because it's just more plastic to put water in. It's plastic, wrapped in plastic, and it's a lot of plastic that we don't need to have on our campus.
Yeah, and I'm Ezio. I'm gonna talk about like our reusable bags. So our campus also banning the plastic bag. So we will send out the reusable bag for each student. Even though sometimes there may be some plastic bag with like food delivery, like Domino's, but students will take those plastic bags to the local grocery store to do the recycle there.
And to go off of what Emma and Izio are talking about, how everyone that isn't in the SCC, the Student Environmental Council, or in the Environmental Policy and Action class, they learn from it from the environmental literacy across the curriculum, which means incorporating and understanding how the environment is related to every single subject at WNA. And they all teach specific lessons related to the environment. For example, last class in our English class, Dr. Kennedy took us outside and we wrote our own poems relating to the environment. All the photography classes are having a project on lawn reclamation. So like I said before, everything in all subject areas we related to the environment.
Another program that our school implements isn't necessarily a physical one, but it is equally as important. We continue the discussion on climate change. So last winter, we just started the World Can't Wait Conversation on Climate Change podcast. And that not only talks about climate change, but it gets involved our entire community where faculty, staff, and students engage in conversations about climate change. So although it's not necessarily something you can physically see when you walk on campus, it's continuing our environmental ethic across all 4 grade levels and ascends into campus ethic that we implement onto our physical location.
And those podcasts I'll just mention can be found on the sustainability section of our website. We have a series of 5. We've completed 2. One that has to do with climate change and social media, and another with just the faculty in conversation about what it means to be teaching in the classroom with this big challenge of climate change facing our students.
Yeah, and to build off of that, the whole topic of the conversation about climate change and the planet, we hold an annual Earth Day and kind of Earth Week at our school. So on Earth Day, we do all kinds of different activities throughout the day, whether it's planting plants on campus, invasive removals, anything kind of surrounding sustainability. We do all kinds of different activities on that day, and this year actually we're having a diversity conference. So some of the topics covered in that conference are climate change and how it relates to every individual, no matter your tax bracket or circumstance, and how it's really going to affect us as people as climate change becomes more and more of an issue coming into the future. And then to go back to kind of the topic of recycling in the programs we have here, not only do we have the plastic kind of ban at the school. We don't have plastic water bottles or bags. We also have a recycling transfer station in the bottom of one of our school buildings, and there we can recycle all kinds of different things that would normally be thrown in the trash. So like light bulbs, dead pens and markers, toothbrushes, all kinds of hygiene products, clothing, just things that would have to go into the garbage normally that we can just put down there and that are recyclable.
And let me just make a point on, again, going back to community partnerships. As you know, the United States is not great on recycling. And so we have a very good landfill here in Cecil County that works very hard to recycle as much as possible. But some of the items that Dylan mentioned, we actually pay to recycle. And that goes back to our community partners who are supporting our sustainability program and helping with a budget that will allow us to recycle those things. So, so some of those things we pay to recycle. The other part is being innovative. The dead pens and markers, we did some research, that actually I should say we, students did this research last year and came up with an artist who was very upset about all the dead pens and markers going into the garbage because they couldn't be recycled. And he started to make art out of them. And so we mail him our stuff, and it becomes the stuff he uses for his artwork. And he's finding quite some success in selling his artwork made out of markers and pens. So investment and innovation are all part of the program here.
And we're also an idle-free campus. So any car that drives on campus or all of our buses, if they're stopping to pick up students or anything, they need to turn off their engine so that we don't have extra emissions put into the atmosphere.
In each quarter, our school required nature credit for each student to do. Like every weekend, we will go out to see the nature without our phones. And after that, we will write a summary about the nature credit.
Catherine, say somewhat, what are some nature credits that you guys do?
Some like hiking and canoeing and like teacher will told us some like knowledge about the natures.
So yeah, so our nature credits are phone free, as Catherine said, which is really important. And as Catherine also said, they come back, the students, and they write about, they respond to what they experienced. If anybody out there knows about the Children in Nature Network and the research that they're doing on how much our children are not outside and how much screen time they spend and what that's doing to our students emotionally, spiritually, and academically. So we know that our students do better academically when they have contact with the outside world, when they're looking at the sky, looking at the trees, and getting that face-to-face with nature. So that's what our nature credits are all about.
All right, thank you, everybody. That was a great overview of all of your environmental efforts. Someone asked about the text on HB 510 and also HB 511. You know offhand how they might get that, or could we post a link on the NERC website?
Yeah, well, I think you can just go to, if you go to the Maryland House of Delegates website and just, there's a tool there where you can put in the bill numbers and you can see the bills exactly.
Great.
So if you put in the bill, just go to the Maryland House of Delegates, look up this legislative session because it just happened in this legislative session. And then there's on one of those pages that's relatively easy to get to. I don't have it in front of me right at the moment. But there's a tool there where you can put in any bill number and you'll get the bill.
Great. Okay, question for Mr. Kilby. Do you use any special equipment like a macerator or choppers to process food residuals prior to digestion?
Yes, we do. So the pump the transfer pump that pumps the mixture of manure and organics from West Nottingham Academy has a chopper on it, and so the chopper, treats and mixes the fluid and the food waste together before it's actually pumped over to the methane digester. I'm not sure. One of the interesting things was Cliff Sensenik, who was a partner now running the operation, has a digester on his own farm, and the only real problem he ever had was that somebody put a Santa Claus, a blow-up Santa Claus in the food waste one day, and he couldn't figure out exactly what to do with that. So,
Now, that would be a problem, but you do take paper products, correct? Soil paper?
well, the paper product here is they use is recyclable.
Yeah, whenever we have plates, we have compostable plates. So we don't use any kind of, plastic or wax paper or anything. And we don't use those compostable plates often. There are, picnics outside and whatever. But if we're going to use a one-time plate, it's a compostable plate that can go in the digester.
And otherwise you use all reusable serviceware.
All reusable. And quite honestly, we have picnics in the summer or whatever outside. But other than that, in our dining hall, we always use permanent materials: forks, spoons, knives, plates, glasses.
Great. And having been to your dining hall, I can attest that how great it is to eat there and what a wonderful job y'all do. Okay, so another question for Mr. Kilby. What do you use the electricity for that comes off of the digester?
Well, currently, when we're rebuilding, we're not producing electricity, and we will, with the new engine, we will be using net metering. So that's a feature here in Maryland where you're able to put electricity onto the grid, but you get credit for what you use in your homes and your businesses. So what we will be doing is a net metering process where we get the credits for the processing plant, the store, the homes on the farm will all be covered under the production. When we were doing it before, when I made my manually operated digester, we were only furnishing electricity to the processing and production side of it. So with this new engine system, we'll be able to do more.
Great. And you can measure like your greenhouse gas savings and things like that through that process? Or do you do that now?
No, not now. We worked with the University of Maryland on a number of research projects, and the last one we did was concern the efficiency of the systems we were using. It was in coordination with Cornell, and so they did record all that kind of efficiency type stuff. And my old system did not have that kind of technology to do. The new system will.
That's great. I look forward to hearing more about that. So several notes of congratulations for all of your efforts and your partnership. So let's see here. Are you aware that one of your employees uses fruit waste from Pepsi Cola to eliminate their use of heating oil to heat their home? Anybody know about that?
Yeah, the fact is, I did want to mention that the other partner, Ben Flayhart, actually, and the students from West Nine have visited his depackaging system. So he gets the Pepsi Cola product, he depackages it along with products from Turkey Hill and Wawa, and then he bales the plastic and recycles it through a system in, I think, York County. So he developed his own depackaging machine, and then he also developed a baler to bale the plastic up with. So there's really we're really doing a lot of innovative things here in this particular watershed, the Aquarere watershed, and the folks we're working with. I'm really pleased with the Sensenik's and the Flayhart's attitude towards trying to obviously keep this, take our sustainable effort to the next level.
I just want to say something about Mr. Flayhart's depackaging machine. The students, when we went on our methane digester tour, they were floored by that machine, and that's because Mr. Flayhart just made it from implements and things that he had on the farm in his brain. He put together this amazing machine that diverts the Pepsi Cola and all of the like juice and whatever that he's getting from Royal Farms that's gone bad, diverts that so that can feed his pigs. And then the plastic runs through this machine and it comes out in bales that look like bales of hay, only it's bales of plastic, which he can then sell or give to the recycling center. And we said to him, you should patent this. And he said, nah, because he's just interested in doing what's efficient and innovative, and that just came out of his brain. And our kids were so impressed with that kind of innovation, looking at what's around, looking at the need, figuring out how to address the need. So that's all part of this project too, in terms of students. Where are the innovations, and how can we use what we have to do something new?
Great. So, final question from me, unless we get any other ones, is I'd like to hear from the students about what your plans are for next year when you graduate.
Oh, can I talk first? So I'm going to Juniata College. It's up in Pennsylvania. And what's interesting about there is that when I go there, I'm hoping to talk to them a little bit more about maybe developing something similar to what we have here, because the admissions counselor that I met with up there was also the director of sustainability. So I was hoping to work with them to, I don't know, develop another sort of similar thing to what we have here at West Nottingham, because I think it's just a really good thing to do. Yeah.
Next year, I'm planning on going to Thomas Jefferson University, which is right outside of Philadelphia. And kind of what Emma said, I know that they don't have the best sustainability programs there. They have really good programs for my specific major. So I'm kind of thinking about what I'm gonna look to kind of change or work on when I go there, because WNA has really taught me that, you know, if you don't like something about, you know, what's going on in your community, or you think something needs to be changed, persistency is key, and just, you know, speaking up and talking to the people who, you know, want to listen and hear what you have to say.
I'm Max Shiner, and next year I'll be attending University of Delaware. And when I was looking at the website, I was astonished because I found a major that is in energy and environmental action, which I'm very excited about, because that's what I was going to major in, marketing, but now I'm going to be majoring in that. So that's what I'll be doing next year.
And I want to jump in and say that Max definitely has plans to be a senator someday. So remember that name, Max Shiner, right? When he's ready to run, we all need to knock on doors.
I'm Izio Shen. I'm going to Virginia Tech as an environmental engineering student. So I'm pretty focused on recycling part, but I know Virginia Tech doing their own compost program. They're sending the food to local farms too. So I will, try to use the information I learned here, try to develop and take a look on their program, and also do the recycling plastics in campus.
I'm Catherine Yang, and I am going to Rutgers, which is in New Jersey, and I will study finance. So maybe I will focus on divestment, this part.
Divestment is really exciting. So just for folks out there who don't know what that is, Catherine did, for purposes of our class this year, a little bit of research on divestment, which is asking companies and institutions to pull their investments out of fossil fuels and put them into renewable energies as a way to encourage moving us off fossil fuels and toward the renewable energy we need to meet the climate change challenge. So those are our seniors, Athena.
That's excellent. Congratulations, everybody. And Dr. Kennedy, can you tell us what's on the for the next agenda for WNA and your sustainability class and this environmental council?
So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we actually developed a 3-year strategic plan, and in each year we enhance our programs. For example, this year, in the environmental literacy part of this, teachers were asked to relate the environment to their class in some way. Next year, in the plan, they have to graduate to a specifically planned lesson that they partner with the students on that focuses on how history or foreign language or English or whatever the subject is related to human relationship to the environment. So we're integrating much more deeply next year, and then the year after, they have to do not just one lesson that integrates the year after, it's an entire unit. As Dylan mentioned before, we're working on our climate change action plan. So we're going to start researching ways to evaluate our buildings and work with Dr. Banks and the administration on seeing what we can do where, as I said, we're the oldest boarding school in the country, so we have some old buildings. And what can we do? What's cost effective? What grants are out there? What can we find that will help us to reduce our carbon footprint by becoming more efficient in our buildings? And then the third big project that we're just getting started with is, Dylan also mentioned, we have about 80 acres of grass that we want to reclaim to natural habitat. So we are working with the Chesapeake Bay Alliance to see if we can make that happen. So that's another big project that we're working on. The students will be involved with working with, hopefully, replanting the campus with natural vegetation and trees. And then finally, we've written another grant, and Athena, of course, you were instrumental in helping us with that. And hopefully we get it, but whether we get it or not, we want to move forward to partner with Cecil County Schools to help them see how they can partner with local farms like Mr. Kilby's to get better local foods into the Cecil County Public Schools and also to divert their food waste. So the grant that we wrote has to do with us being leaders and partners to help people make what happened here happen at their institutions. So I guess you could call that taking our show on the road, which is what we hope to do in the upcoming year.
Wonderful. And to find out more about Dr. Kennedy's programs and all the sustainability efforts at West Nottingham Academy, their website is wna.org, and their contact information is there as well. So I'd like to thank Dr. Kennedy, Emily, and all the students for their great participation and presentations. Very wonderful. Mr. Kilby, always a pleasure, and thank you for your presentation and your time and partnership with WNA and all of your sustainability efforts. Mr. Kilby's website is kilbycream.com. Also, again, like to thank USDA. If you don't know about the USDA Rural Utility Service programs, I encourage you to check them out. It's a good source of revenue and lots of information. And again, my name is Athena Lee Bradley. I'm with the Recycling Council. Our website is nerc.org. Thank you all for participating on the webinar. And again, all of the presentations and recording will be posted at the NERC website. A great afternoon, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Well,